Once I heard a speech that changed my life completely. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't delivered with fireworks or grand theatrics. It was just a man, Admiral William McRaven, standing at a podium, speaking plainly about lessons learned from the harshest kind of training on Earth, Navy SEAL training. But what he said that day pierced through the noise of my chaotic life like a beam of clarity. He began with something so simple it sounded absurd. If you want to change the world, start off by making your bed. At first, I laughed. How could something so trivial matter? But then he explained. Making your bed meant starting the day with a small win. It was a task you controlled, a symbol of discipline. If you could take care of the little things, maybe you'd find the strength to tackle the big things too. That idea stuck with me. I had been feeling lost, letting life happen to me instead of stepping forward with intention. I wasn't lazy in the obvious sense, but I was undisciplined. My bed was always a mess, and so was my mind. The Admiral's words made me realize maybe the chaos around me reflected the disorder within me. He didn't stop there. He spoke of teamwork, recalling how SEAL trainees paddled inflatable boats through towering waves. Every person had to be in sync, paddling to the same rhythm, or the boat would flip. It wasn't enough to be strong alone. You had to be strong together. You can't change the world alone, he said. And I remembered all the times I tried to carry everything myself, refusing to ask for help, as if needing others was weakness. That moment shattered my pride. Then came the story of the Munchkin crew, the smallest guys in the class who were expected to fail. But they didn't. They outswam, outran, and outlasted everyone. McRaven said, "If you want to change the world, measure a person by the size of their heart, not the size of their flippers." That line hit hard. It reminded me not to judge and not to underestimate. That speech lit a fire in me, and that was only the beginning. There was another part of the speech that I'll never forget, something Admiral McRaven called the sugar cookie. It sounded innocent, even funny at first, but the story behind it hit me in a way I didn't expect. In SEAL training, uniform inspections are brutal. Every crease, every smudge, every thread is examined. But here's the catch. No matter how perfect your uniform was, the instructors always found something wrong. If they didn't, they made something up. The punishment? You'd be ordered to dive into the cold ocean, fully clothed, then roll in the sand until you were soaked, gritty, and miserable from head to toe. They called it becoming a sugar cookie. And you had to stay that way, wet, cold, and covered in sand, for the rest of the day. Now here's the lesson. Sometimes in life, no matter how hard you try, no matter how perfect you think you've performed, it won't be good enough. Life won't give you the recognition you deserve. It won't play fair. And if you expect fairness, you're going to fall apart. McRaven said, "If you want to change the world, get over being a sugar cookie and keep moving forward." That line cracked something open in me. I had always taken setbacks personally. Every failed job, every unreturned call, every time life kicked me down after I gave it my all. I thought I wasn't enough, but that wasn't the lesson. The lesson was, you do it anyway. You get dirty, you get knocked down, you get judged unfairly, and you move forward regardless. The world doesn't owe you comfort, it owes you nothing. But your perseverance, that belongs to you. That's the part no one can take. Hearing that story, I realized how many times I had been a sugar cookie in my own life, and how often I had let it stop me. No more. That was the day I decided I'd wear the sand like armor.
Another part of Admiral McRaven's speech that stayed with me was what he called the circus. But it wasn't the kind you'd take your kids to in SEAL training. Circus was a punishment, 2 additional hours of exhausting calisthenics at the end of an already brutal day. You earned a ticket to the circus if you failed to meet a physical standard. If your swim was too slow, your push-ups too weak, your run not fast enough. Nobody wanted to be in the circus. It meant you hadn't measured up. And the more fatigued you were, the harder it became to avoid landing there again. It created a vicious cycle, the kind that breaks most people. But here's what McRaven said that changed how I see failure. The pain of the circuses built inner strength and physical resiliency. Life is full of circuses. You will fail. You'll likely fail often. I'd heard that failure was part of success before, but not like this. Not framed as a forge, a necessary trial, a tool. In training, the ones who made it through the most circuses didn't become weaker. They became stronger. Not in spite of the pain, but because of it. I remember thinking about all the times I tried something and failed. When I quit, when I saw the circus as proof I was cut out for it, whatever it was. I thought failure meant I should turn back. But McRaven was saying the exact opposite. If you keep walking through the pain, it turns you into someone more powerful than you were before. Now, I see failure as training, not punishment, not defeat. Training. And just like in SEAL school, the ones who embraced the circus, who kept showing up no matter how exhausted, embarrassed, or broken they felt, those were the ones who made it to the end. So now, when I hit a wall, when life pushes me into another circus, I remind myself, this pain has a purpose. It's not personal. It's preparation.
One of the most unforgettable stories Admiral McRaven told was about an obstacle course. It was grueling, 25 brutal challenges designed to push every limit. But the most feared obstacle was something called the slide for life, a 200-foot rope stretch suspended high above the ground. You were supposed to swing underneath and inch your way across, hand over hand. For years, nobody had broken the course record. That is, until one cadet did something nobody had dared before. He climbed to the top of the rope and dove headfirst. It was reckless, dangerous. He could have slipped, lost control, been injured or worse, but instead of failing, he flew. That decision shattered the course record and redefined what was possible. When McRaven said, "Sometimes you have to slide down the obstacle head first," something clicked. I realized how often I've tiptoed through life, cautiously, carefully, waiting for the perfect moment to act. But real breakthroughs don't come from playing it safe. They come from calculated risk, from the boldness to try something different when the rules no longer serve you. Too many of us are still dangling under the rope, inching along while fear whispers in our ear. But progress, real progress, doesn't always wait for permission. Head first isn't just a strategy, it's a mindset. It means owning your shot. It means understanding that fear will always be there, but so will the reward. It means that boldness isn't recklessness, it's the refusal to be paralyzed by what-ifs. After I heard that part of the speech, I asked myself, where in my life am I still clinging to the rope, playing small? And more importantly, what would happen if I dove? Another moment from Admiral McRaven's speech burned itself into my memory. The night swim at San Clemente Island. Before jumping into those shark-infested waters, the instructors had a ritual. They would gleefully list every species of predator lurking below the surface: great whites, tiger sharks, reef sharks. And then they'd say something no trainee ever forgot. If a shark begins to circle your position, stand your ground, don't swim away, don't act afraid, and if it darts toward you, punch it in the snout. At first I laughed, it sounded absurd. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized life is full of sharks. Not literal ones, but the kind that circle you when you're trying to grow, to change, to rise. Fear is a shark. Doubt is a shark. Criticism, rejection, comparison. They're all predators that sense weakness, that smell hesitation. And the moment you panic, the moment you swim away, they own you. McRaven's advice was deeper than it sounded. He wasn't just talking about dangerous animals. He was talking about courage in the face of fear. If you want to change the world, he said, don't back down from the sharks. That line echoed in my chest, because I knew the truth. I had spent years swimming away, from difficult conversations, from my own potential, from the risk of failure. But what if I had just stopped, turned around, and swung? That's what the people we admire do. They don't wait for fear to disappear. They confront it. They don't flee from opposition. They face it head on, even when trembling. So now I ask myself in every moment of doubt, what would I do right now if I were not afraid? And whatever that answer is, I do that. One of the most haunting lessons McRaven shared wasn't about the battlefield. It was about silence, darkness, pressure. He described the ship attack mission, a task where SEAL divers swim miles underwater with only a compass and a depth gauge. No light, no margin for error. As they approached their target, a massive enemy ship, all ambient light vanished. The steel hull blocked the moon, the stars, even the street lamps from shore. You couldn't see your hand in front of your face. The noise from the engines roared through the water like a monster breathing just inches away. And somewhere beneath that ship, in the pitch black, was the keel. The objective. The only place they needed to reach. You must be calm, composed, and at your very best in your darkest moments, McRaven said. That hit me harder than anything else, because we all have our own keel moments. The night your business is falling apart and you don't know how to pay rent. The diagnosis that shatters your world. The moment you realize you've disappointed someone you love. There is no map in these moments. No flashlight, no guide, just noise, chaos, and your own breath. But McRaven's words taught me this. The world doesn't need you to panic. It needs you to center yourself, to find your compass in the dark. In those moments, we either fall apart or we rise. We either collapse into fear or we remember our training, the habits we built, the discipline we forged. Because greatness isn't measured in the light when it's easy to see the way forward. It's measured when everything is dark and you become the light. There's one image from McRaven's speech that never left me. A group of SEAL trainees, neck deep in mud, teeth chattering, bodies trembling, on the brink of surrender. It was during Hell Week. No sleep, no warmth, no mercy. The instructors told them, if 5 of you quit right now, the rest can leave the mud. 5. That's all it would have taken. 5 broken men to end the suffering for the entire group, and they were close. You could feel it, hope fading, willpower slipping. But then, something miraculous happened. One voice began to sing, just one, off-key, alone, but defiant. Then another joined, then another, until the mud was filled with song, with unity, with resilience. That moment wasn't just poetic, it was powerful. Because here's what I realized. Pain isolates, fear paralyzes, but hope unites. And sometimes when you're drowning in the mud of your own life, debt, shame, depression, regret, all it takes is one voice. Yours. You may feel broken, exhausted, ready to quit. But if you can sing through the pain, if you can raise your voice when your body says stay silent, you'll give others permission to do the same. You'll become a beacon in their darkness. You'll remind them, this isn't the end. We're still here. We're still fighting. McRaven wasn't just talking about a training exercise. He was giving us a survival tactic for life. When you're up to your neck in the mud, start singing. There's a brass bell that hangs at the center of the SEAL training compound. It's polished, visible, always within reach, and it offers something seductive, an end to the pain, to the early mornings, to the freezing swims, to the endless physical punishment. If you want out, all you have to do is ring it. Just walk over, give it a firm tug, and it's over. No shame, no yelling, just relief. But McRaven's voice thundered when he said, if you want to change the world, don't ever, ever ring the bell. Because the bell isn't just in the training yard. The bell is everywhere. It's in the job you hate but refuse to leave. It's in the business you abandoned after the first failure. It's in the relationship you let die instead of fight for. It's in your morning alarm, the snooze button that delays your future. Every time we choose comfort over conviction, we ring the bell. Every time we walk away from something just because it's hard, we let the bell define us. But here's the truth I took from that moment. The bell doesn't save you. It steals from you. It robs you of the growth that only hardship can forge, of the pride you earn only by enduring, of the transformation that waits just beyond the struggle. And worst of all, it becomes easier to ring every time. So now, when life hits hard, and that inner bell calls out to me, I don't move. I stay. I fight. Because once you decide that the bell isn't an option, life changes. You stop entertaining failure. You stop bargaining with weakness. You start living with no plan B. If you truly want to change your life, not just dream about it, but live it, then you need this one unshakable truth etched into your soul. You will not quit. One of the most haunting images from McRaven's story wasn't about war. It wasn't about underwater missions or facing down a shark. It was about mud. Freezing, endless, soul-breaking mud. During Hell Week, trainees are ordered into the Tijuana sloughs, a swamp of cold, thick sludge where they must stay submerged, neck-deep, for hours. Their only escape: quit or endure. That night, McRaven and his classmates shivered together in silence. The instructors made an offer. If just 5 of you ring out, the rest can leave the mud. Temptation echoed louder than the wind. Some men were on the edge of surrender. You could see it in their eyes, a look of detachment, of desperation, their will fading with the last heat in their bodies. And then, a voice. Out of nowhere, someone began to sing, terribly off-key, loud, unapologetically alive. That voice carried above the cold, and one by one, the others joined. Soon the mud was filled with a chorus, broken men, singing like a choir in the middle of misery. The instructors threatened more time in the swamp. No one cared. The singing grew louder, and the most powerful thing happened. The mud didn't disappear, but it felt warmer. That's the lesson. Hope doesn't always remove pain, but it can dull its sting. One voice, one act of defiance, can lift everyone. McRaven was clear. If you want to change the world, start singing when you're up to your neck in mud. You don't have to be strong for the world, just be strong for one person. Sometimes that one person might even be you. Because in your darkest moments when everything feels impossible, the smallest spark, a smile, a song, a hand on the shoulder, can be the reason someone holds on a little longer. There's a brass bell that hangs in the center of the SEAL training compound. Polished, visible, always present. It's simple. Ring the bell, and it's over. No more freezing swims, no more 5 a.m. wake-ups, no more mud, exhaustion, or failure. Just one sound and you're done. And McRaven's final command was crystal clear. If you want to change the world, don't ever, ever ring the bell. Those words pierced something deep in me, because I've seen that bell in my own life. We all have. It's the job you almost quit, the business you nearly gave up on, the relationship you wanted to walk away from, the dream that felt too far, too foolish, too painful to chase. That bell is comfort. It's escape. It's the lie that says, maybe you were never meant for more. But the truth is that you were built to endure, to stumble, fall, rise again, to be shaped by the struggle, not spared from it. You don't change the world by taking the easy path. You change it by refusing to give up when everything in you is begging for relief. I don't know what battle you're fighting. I don't know how cold the water is or how deep the mud has pulled you. But I do know this. You're still here, reading this, thinking, hoping, trying. And that means you haven't rung the bell. So don't. Instead, stand up, steady yourself, and take the next small, hard step forward. Because if you keep going, if you keep moving, someday, someone will say, I once heard a story that changed my life completely. And that story will be yours.